Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, hearty welcome to one and all for the 10th class State Syllabus Science Textbook 1 under chapter Control and Coordination. Today's class is the last part of this chapter, that is the 6th part. For our better understanding, the whole chapter we had divided into 6 parts, and today's is the last part of this chapter, the part 6, which mainly deals with the human endocrine gland system. Before we move on to the human endocrine gland system, let us recap our previous class main points. In our previous classes, we understood about the human control and coordination by 2 systems in the body. One is the nervous system and the other is the endocrine system. The human nervous system, for our better understanding, we divided it into 3 subdivisions. They are the CNS, that is central nervous system, the PNS, the peripheral nervous system, and the ANS, the autonomic nervous system. Further, under the CNS, that is the central nervous system, we understood in a brief way, according to the 10th mental ability, about the brain and the spinal cord. And under the PNS, we come across the nerves relating to the brain called as cranial nerves, and the nerves relating to the spinal cord called as spinal nerves and their branches under PNS. Further, we discussed about the ANS, the autonomic nervous system, which is a self-governing system, and where the activities are antagonistic to each other, that is opposite to each other, for the body balance under 2 divisions of this ANS. They are the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. I hope all of you have recapped the main points of our previous classes under this control and coordination. Let us check out our assignment 5, the homework questions. The answers for those questions let us verify and clear up. List out the differences between cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves, they arise from the brain. The spinal nerves arise from the spinal cord. The cranial nerves are 12 pairs. The spinal nerves, 31 pairs. The cranial nerves, they spread throughout the head region, whereas the spinal nerves, they spread throughout the body. The cranial nerves, they are either sensory nerves or the motor nerves. There are 2 types of nerves in the cranial system. That is the brain which is having 2 types of nerves, the sensory nerves and the motor nerves. Whereas the spinal nerves, they are always only mixed nerves. We understood about the sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves in our previous class also. Just to recap about that, sensory nerves, the nerves that are connecting to the sense organs from the brain. The motor nerves, the nerves that are connected to the muscles and the glands from the brain. And the mixed nerves, they act as both sensory and the motor nerves functions. That is, they receive the stimulus and also they give back the responses. So, the mixed nerves are found in the only spinal cord and all the spinal nerves are mixed nerves. I hope all of you have written perfect answer for this question. The second question, explain sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system with an example. The sympathetic nervous system prepares for violent actions. Any abnormal state in the body which is being expressed outwardly, all that comes to sympathetic nervous system. They are violent actions. Dilation of pupil of the eye. Parasympathetic nervous system, re-establishing normal conditions for violent actions. So what all violent actions are being expressed by the body in the sympathetic nervous system, it is being drawn back, it is brought back to the normal condition by this parasympathetic nervous system, and that is constriction of pupil of the eye. I hope all of you have understood about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system with an example that was given for home assignment question, and you have written perfect answers. Today's class, the last part of this chapter, the sixth part, the human endocrine gland system. The endocrine gland system is also called as hormonal system. Hormone, it is being referred in general term as chemicals. So, the endocrine gland system or the hormonal system, what is its function? Mainly controls the chemicals that are secreted in the body and coordinates those chemicals in the body. So, the chemical control and coordination in the body is being carried out by the endocrine gland system. Then, what is a gland? A gland is a group of cells. It is group of cells which produce a particular secretion. A special group of cells which produces only one specific type of secretion, that is termed as gland. And in the whole creation of higher animals, which we called it as vertebrates, they have two types of glands. One is the exocrine gland, the other is the endocrine glands. The exocrine glands and endocrine glands, no doubt both are glands, but they differ in their structure and the function and their position in the body. Let us see about the exocrine and the endocrine glands. Exocrine glands, secretions carried to the organs with the help of ducts. Endocrine glands, secretions enter directly into the bloodstream. As we know, gland helps in secretion, and the secretion of this exocrine gland flows in a particular path with the help of a tube-like structure, which we called it as duct. So they are glands with ducts. These are glands without ducts, to tell you all. In short, we can tell glands with duct. And these glands without ducts. These are glands without ducts, which we call in short as ductless glands. Ductless glands, endocrine glands are ductless glands. So the secretions are being carried with the help of ducts, whereas the secretions directly enter the bloodstream. The exocrine glands, their secretions are called enzymes. And what are enzymes? In biological terms, they are the biocatalyst which increase or decrease the rate of chemical reactions that take place inside the body. So enzymes are secreted by exocrine glands, hormones or chemicals are secreted by endocrine glands. Example, the salivary gland which produce salivary juice, the salivary amylase enzyme that is being produced in the mouth along with the saliva, which is going to convert the starch into the maltose. I hope all of you are recollecting your first chapter in this biological science if we think of 10th class, that is life processes. Under that, the nutrition in human body, if you recollect, there you come across the chemical digestion, and the chemical digestion which is going to start in the buccal cavity inside the mouth with the help of the first gland, and that is salivary gland. And the salivary gland produces the salivary amylase enzyme which is going to convert the starch into the maltose. So the salivary gland, liver, the biggest and the largest gland in the body. It is a biochemical factory. So it is an example for exocrine glands. The endocrine glands, the thyroid gland, the adrenal gland, the parathyroid, the pituitary, and the pancreas, which is both exocrine and endocrine. We will study it further. The pancreas is called as a mixed gland because it carries the functions of the exocrine system also and the endocrine system also. So the endocrine part of this pancreas is called as islets of Langerhans, to tell you all. So anyway, the endocrine glands example, the thyroid gland and the adrenal gland. Control and coordination, the chemical control and coordination is mainly related to the endocrine glands. So let us move for the deeper study of these endocrine glands. Endocrine glands, the hormones carry the stimuli. Stimuli is plural, stimulus is singular. The hormones carry the stimuli from one part of the body to another part. Hence they are called chemical messengers. They are called as chemical messengers. Very important application type questions. Hormones are called chemical messengers, gave reasons. Since they carry the stimuli from one part of the body to another part, hence they are called chemical messengers. Why we call chemical only? Because they carry the stimuli in the form of chemicals. I already told the chemicals are nothing but the hormones. So the hormones carry the stimuli in the form of chemicals from one part of the body to another part. They are called chemical messengers. Then the organs on which the hormones act. So the reaction shown by the hormones on which part of the body, then we call that part or that organ as the target organs. If there is excess secretion of the hormone, we call that as hypersecretion. If there is less secretion of the hormone, it is called hyposecretion. We call it as inadequate or less secretion. You can call it as less secretion also. Examples for the endocrine glands: the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the parathyroid gland, the adrenal gland, the islet of Langerhans. This is the pancreas endocrine part. The pancreas endocrine part. This is the pancreas endocrine part. And the gonads. The male gonad is called as the testes. and the female gonad is called as the ovary. In general, gonads are the genital organs that help in the reproduction. So the gonads, the male gonad called as testis and the female gonad called as ovary. Now let us see each organ for your kind information. The endocrine glands in the human body. We come across the pituitary gland. It is found at the base of the brain, the cerebrum base. And it is of P-shaped. If you see the location of this gland, you can observe here is the pituitary gland. P-shaped, even though it is smaller and located at the base of the brain, it is called as a master gland. See this pituitary gland, it is called as a master gland. Why it is called master gland? In brief to tell, it is the only gland which stimulates the other glands to produce the hormones. It makes the other glands also to produce hormones, so it is heading the other glands. Hence it is called as a master gland. Here I remember master gland immediately. I remember Swami Vivekananda when he had been to Chicago for this religious meeting. In an exhibition, they had placed the various religions books, spiritual books, and the Bhagavad Gita of our Indian spirituality, the book relating to the Indian spirituality called Bhagavad Gita, was being placed at the basement. Above that, many other books were being placed. And the other religious people started to make fun by telling that the Indian religion is being placed at the bottom, the Indian spiritual book. Immediately, without any speaking, Vivekananda just pulled the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian religious book, he immediately pulled from there. And all other religion books started to fall. And he told, Indian religion is the foundation. It is the Sanatana Samskriti. Here I remember it is the master. The next day in the exhibition, they placed the Bhagavad Gita above all other religious books. Then the other people again started to comment, see, your religion is now at the top, ours is at the bottom. This is the foundation. But Vivekananda then he tells, you have observed train? In the train, engine is in the beginning. Rest all the bogies are attached to the engine. So our Indian religious book called Bhagavad Gita is the engine. It is taking the other religions with it, along with it. So this shows, there I remember, because master gland, Indian culture, the Indian traditions and our India, which is having the great Sanatana Samskriti, it is a master for all other religions and for all other sort of the countries for it to spread the divinity. So that is about the master. Immediately the master gland came to my mind when we were discussing about pituitary gland. So I remembered that incident, children. One thing we should remember, we should be proud that we are Indians. And we should not underestimate other religions or other countries. We should make them also to follow the God path. Here, pituitary gland is a master gland because it makes other glands all also to produce the hormones. The second endocrine gland, the thyroid gland, that is located in the neck region. The trachea, in the neck region, the thyroid gland is being located. The parathyroid, as we understood, the thyroid gland is here. The thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland. You can observe parathyroid gland that is being embedded within the thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland is embedded within the thyroid gland. The adrenal gland. A pair of adrenal glands which are of triangle shape or hat shape located on the topmost anterior region of a pair of kidneys. On the pair of kidneys, we see a pair of adrenal gland. This is their location. The pancreas, a leaf-shaped one by the side of the stomach, it is being located. It functions, the pancreas, it is a mixed gland. Why it is a mixed gland? Because it functions both as exocrine system and endocrine system. As in exocrine system, during the chemical digestion in the body, it produces the pancreatic juice and the enzymes called pancreatic amylase and lipase, which helps in the complete digestion of the food in the body. That is the exocrine part where it produces enzymes. The endocrine part of this pancreas is called islets of Langerhans. When you observe here, you can observe the small dots here. So these are the islets of Langerhans, which function as endocrine part of the pancreas. And they produce the insulin hormone and the glucagon, which we will study further. The next is the testes, which is being located in the scrotum, the male reproductive organ called the testes, which produces the sperms for the reproduction. See, the genital part, it is being located in the body. The next is the ovary, a pair of ovaries to tell you all, where we are observing inside this the number of ovules are located. So, pair of ovaries, a female reproductive organ, a gonad in the females is called as the ovary. It's about the structure of the endocrine glands and their positions in the body. And now let us see once again a chart which is holding the gland name, the endocrine gland name, the position of it in the body, the hormone it is going to produce, and what is its function. If it is more secreted, what happens? That is hypersecretion. If it is less secreted, what will happen? First one, the pituitary gland. I already told it is a master gland. A pea-shaped size located at base of the brain. It produces a hormone called GH, growth hormone. Function growth of the body and also helps in and also hormone productions. Other glands to produce hormones, it insists the other glands to produce hormones. Which gland? Pituitary gland. If the pituitary hormone, that is the growth hormone, is hypersecretion, hyper, more, hypo, less. So if it is more secreted, gigantism. In Kannada you call it as Daityate. Gigantism. Adults, when certain age the growth is stopped. But in adults, what we tell that the growth is stopped, still there is some further growth. In adults, if the GH hormone is increasing, then we call it as acromegaly. How can we know that it is acromegaly? The symptoms are disproportionate growth of bones in the jaws and the legs is a symptom of this acromegaly. If the growth hormone is less produced in the body, it is called dwarfism. Kubjate in Kannada we call it as dwarfism. The next gland, thyroid gland, close to trachea in the neck region. And the thyroid produces a hormone called thyroxine. There is a title given to this hormone. Thyroxine hormone is called as personality hormone. It is called as personality hormone. Why it is called personality hormone? It makes the metabolic reactions to take place in a faster rate. With that, the cell starts to grow and it starts to divide. With that, the growth of the body increases. So we see that indirectly it supports for the well development of the body. So we call it as personality hormone. The functions: increase of rate of metabolism, growth of tissues of the body also takes place. With the well development growth of tissues, organs develop properly, organ systems function properly, organism will be healthy. If there is more secretion of this thyroxine hormone, leads to protrusion of eyeball. The eyeball starts to protrude outward from its position. High blood pressure, BP, and also sweating. Hyposecretion, less secretion of thyroxine. You all might have observed or you all might have seen among your relatives also suffering from less of thyroxine, which leads to simple goiter. What it means? In Kannada we call it as Galaganda Roga, where simple goiter, swelling of the neck region. The neck region starts to swell. Why so? We already know the thyroid gland is located in the neck region and the hormone is produced is the thyroxine. For thyroxine to produce in a normal way, iodine mineral is required. So we tell consuming of iodized food, iodized salt reduces the simple goiter. How? The more the iodine content you are going to consume, there will be a regular production and a proper production of thyroxine hormone. So in the coastal areas, people do not suffer from simple goiter. Give reason. See the application tag question. We know the coastal areas are rich in salts and the salt which is mainly containing iodine more. So more the iodine, less the goiter diseases among the people. That's why we call the simple goiter disease also as endemic disease. What it means? Regional disease. Endemic diseases are restricted to a particular region where there is less production of certain nutrient. So the endemic disease, regional disease, restricted to a particular region where there is less production of any one of the nutrient or where there is deficiency of any one nutrient. So we call that as endemic disease. So simple goiter is also an endemic disease restricted to the areas where there is less production of iodine salt or the iodine mineral in the food. If there is less iodine mineral, then there is no proper production of thyroxine. If there is less production of thyroxine, it leads to simple goiter. I hope all of you have understood this. So simple goiter, less production of thyroxine. Myxedema is another one due to less of thyroxine, and cretinism also. So these three are less secretion of thyroxine hormone: simple goiter, myxedema, and cretinism. Parathyroid gland, embedded, found within the thyroid gland. A simple question. A gland that is embedded in another gland. Very simple. Parathyroid gland. It is found inside the thyroid gland. Paratha hormone is the hormone that is being produced by parathyroid gland. What its function? It functions controls the amount of calcium salts in the blood. If there is more production of this paratha hormone removes the calcium from the bones. If there is less production of paratha hormone, painful muscle cramps, snayugala selata, in Kannada we call it as, when there is less production of paratha hormone. The next gland, adrenal gland. They are two in number. Already told, a triangle shape, if you remember. Found on either side of the, it is found on the anterior region of the kidney. One each on the upper part of the kidney. There are two in number, the adrenal glands. One each on each kidneys. They produce three hormones. The cortisone, the adrenaline, the dopamine. Among them, the adrenaline is having another synonym name. What it is? Emergency hormone. In Kannada, we call it as Turtu Paristitiya Chodan. The adrenaline is an emergency hormone. It is an emergency hormone. Why? Because adrenaline hormone is produced during the abnormal conditions in the body. That is, during more heartbeat, during oversweating, high blood pressure. During all these times, the adrenaline hormone is produced. The reason? To bring back to normal conditions. So it is produced during emergency situations, so it is called as emergency hormone. The functions of this hormones of the adrenal gland is regulates the metabolism rate, the control of salts in the blood, brings coordination of several sympathetic actions. Please remember, sympathetic actions. Which are those actions? Yes, they are the violent actions. They are the actions which are not in normal condition. Such violent actions are being brought to normal condition by the production of an hormone from the adrenal gland, which is called as adrenaline hormone. Since it is produced during the sympathetic actions to bring back to the normal conditions, and it is produced during emergency situations, so it is called as emergency hormone. The next gland, the pancreas. I already referred. The pancreas is also called which type of gland? Yes, it is a mixed gland because it functions as exocrine gland system and endocrine gland system. The exocrine part of the pancreas produce pancreatic juice and the enzymes called pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase for the chemical digestion of food in the body. Then the endocrine part of the pancreas is called islet of Langerhans, where this gland is situated side of the stomach. Produce two hormones. Number one is the insulin and number two is the glucagon. Insulin, function of this insulin, conversion of glucose to glycogen. The function of glucagon, conversion of the glycogen to glucose. Never get confused here, dear students. Insulin converts glucose, excess glucose into glycogen, and that glycogen is stored in the body, in the gallbladder and the liver. Whenever starvation and when no food also, still we can do our activities. During that emergency situations, the glycogen gets converted into glucose with the help of the glucagon. So glucagon conversion of glycogen into glucose, and insulin conversion of glucose into glycogen. Hyposecretion, no hyper. Let us think for our 10th standard level, this much content is well enough for the IQ level of the 10th standard. I already told you all that the knowledge is ever changing and it is vast. As you go to higher classes, you study more deeper about this. For the time being, if you learn that much, what is being given here, it's well to do. So there is, if hyposecretion of the insulin, less secretion of insulin leads to diabetes mellitus. In Kannada, we call it as sakre kaile. It is also called in Kannada sihimutra roga. You might have observed this, you might have heard about this. ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಕಾಯಿಲೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ಮಾತ್ರೆ ತಗೊಂತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಂತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ವೈ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್? Some of the people, due to less production of insulin. What happens if there is less production of insulin in the body? Leads to the diabetes mellitus. How do we know that the person is suffering from diabetes mellitus? The symptoms are frequent urination and also thirsty. Frequent urination and feeling every time thirsty. These are the symptoms. Then how to control it? Just giving him or her the insulin in the form of tablet or an injection. That is about the islet of Langerhans in the pancreas, which produce two hormones, insulin and glucagon. INSULIN is also enough. You can write, or also there is no problem. Testes. The next is the testes. It is a male gonad. In the human body, the genital organ, the testes, it is a male gonad. The genital region it is being found. It produces a male hormones together called as androgens. Among those androgens, the testosterone plays an important role in the males, in the testes. What is the function of this testosterone? It brings the male secondary sexual characters in the body of the male. What it means, secondary sexual characters in the males? You can observe as the growth of the body increases, moustache and beard appearing, the breaking of the throat, the voice breaking, the shoulder development, all these are secondary sexual characters that are produced in the males when there is production of testosterone. If there is less testosterone, the person will be the masculine character to low degree. The male will not have the masculine characters such as the moustache and beard development, the voice breaking, and also the voice becoming rough. Breaking means becoming rough, the voice, and the shoulder development. It may not be there, or it may be in a very long time. It may take a long time for its production when there is less production of testosterone in the males. Ovary. 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 It's a female reproductive organ. It produces a group of hormones called as estrogens. Among them, estradiol and progesterone are the two important hormones in the females of human body. The females, the estradiol is going to bring the female secondary characters What are these female secondary characters? The breast development, the menstrual cycle development, menstruation is the female secondary character. What about the progesterone? It brings the uterine changes for pregnancy. The women to become mothers. The pregnancy stage of the women is brought about with the help of this progesterone hormone. That's what? Uterine changes for pregnancy. If there is less production of these hormones, especially the estradiol, less production leads to infertility. Progesterone, not proper production in women leads to sterility. The sterility in Kannada called Banjetana, Makkalagalla antivi, because of the lackage of this progesterone in females, where the uterine will not undergo changes for pregnancy, then they are not ready to give birth to the children, which we call it as the sterility stage. I hope that you will have understood about the female gonad, the endocrine gland in the females, which we call it as the ovary, located in the female's genital part. Let us observe the symptoms that are being seen due to the endocrine glands in the people. Gigantism. See, this is the normal and he growing to the tallest. It is also a disease. Gigantism. Growth hormone hypersecretion. Acromegaly in adults. You can observe here the growth of bones. Excess growth of bones. Then dwarfism, kubjate. What do you mean here? So you can observe here, these are all due to the lackage. This is due to the less production, less GH hormone. And this is more GH hormone, more growth hormone. And this is in adults, more growth hormone, more GH hormone leads to acromegaly. Can observe here simple goiter, less production of which hormone? It is thyroxine. The thyroxine hormone is also called as personality hormone. You can observe here less thyroxine, simple goiter in the neck region. You can observe here the swelling. Thyroid gland swells. Cretinism, it is also less production of thyroxine. Bow legs, bent legs to tell you all, wrinkled skin. These are all the less production of the thyroxine hormone. The comparison between the hormonal system and nervous system. No doubt, the control and coordination should go hand in hand with the help of these two systems also, the nervous system as well as hormonal system. But still we find their comparative study, hormonal system, nervous system. The response is very slow in hormonal system, whereas the response is rapid in nervous system. In hormonal system, they carry to every part of the body, whereas the nervous system carry by particular neuron to specific destinations. The hormonal system, these hormones often widespread. They spread throughout the body, whereas the nervous system very much localized to particular organ. The particular nerve itself is being connected either from the brain or the spinal cord. The hormonal system continue for long period of time. Whereas the nervous system, it is a short-lived. The hormonal system, growth and metabolism in the body. Growth may stop to certain age, but till our life, till we breathe, till we respire, the metabolic activities, the life activities, such as the respiration, the circulation, the digestion, the excretion, all these metabolisms, metabolic activities are being carried out till we breathe, till we have the Shiva in the body. The nervous system, contraction of muscles, an example, an activity of that. So this is the comparative study of hormonal system and nervous system. Assignment 6. Dear students, today's class was the last part, the 6th part of the control and coordination, an important chapter for our higher studies and for the present study for the examination also. Other than that, it has taught us a very good value, the control and coordination, that we should have caring and sharing among all of us. Then only we can be healthy and happy and peaceful. The assignment 6, the part 6 of today's chapter, the control and coordination, was the endocrine gland system. We understood what a gland is, how exocrine glands differ from endocrine glands, and also further, the chemical control and coordination is carried out by the endocrine gland system. And where are these glands situated? Which are the hormones they are producing? What are their functions? If the hormone production is more, that is hypersecretion, what it may lead to? If the hormone production is less, that is hyposecretion, what it may lead to? And what is the structure or the shape of that gland and where it is located? We understood today. And also we compared between the nervous control and coordination and hormonal control and coordination, which was studied as hormonal system and nervous system. In general, nervous system controls nerves and coordinates nerves, whereas the endocrine system undergoes the chemical control and coordination. Both are important. Both should go hand in hand. The assignment 6. List out the functions of the following hormones and name the gland where these hormones are produced. Thyroxine, cortisol, adrenaline, insulin, glucagon, testosterone, progesterone. Second question. Give reasons. Pituitary gland is a master gland. Thyroxine is a personality hormone. Adrenaline is an emergency hormone. Pancreas is a mixed gland. Third question. Write the symptoms for acromegaly, diabetes mellitus. I hope that today's class all have understood and the chapter also completes with this part 6 of today's class. And in our next class, we shall move to the fresh and a new chapter under this 10th Science State Syllabus. Till then, I believe and I have hope and faith that all of you will revise and will work out the assignment 6 and also clear up your doubts. One thing all of you should remember. Faith works wonders. Where there is faith, there is no fear. Where there is fear, there is no faith. So let us develop the faith first in ourselves, hope first in ourselves, and love first in ourselves and also on our Almighty God, offering all our content at the feet of the Almighty and praying Him to shower His choicest blessings on all to be healthy and happy and peaceful. Thanking you, children. Let us see in the next class with a new chapter also. Till then, have a good time. Thanking you. Jai Sai Ram.